Do episode 159 of The Heart of a Family. Make sure y'all like, comment, share, and subscribe. What we getting into today?
Mm. Y'all watch the parade?
Uh-uh.
Oh my God, the pictures that I saw was crazy. I said, "Oh wow, oh wow." They're like all of our
Yeah.
taxpayer dollars like going down the drain
Well, that was a lot of money just for that.
for nothing. Nobody to show up. So, did they plan to have this No King's protest on the day of his birthday parade?
Yeah.
Was
Yeah,
it the
because he
same
was
day?
having that military
Okay,
parade.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think they thought it was gonna get a lot of attention like it did, and it did.
I feel like it things don't get to people until it directly affects them, and a lot of people who are not colored or or immigrants, they think that they think that things like that's not going to affect them, and now that it's affecting them, they see like he just doesn't give a damn about anybody in the
Right.
working class.
Hmm.
Join our club.
Right, join the club, see how it feels. Like seriously, I mean, it's sad. It's sad that some people can't even empathize or put themselves in other people's shoes, because they're in a bubble their whole lives. I don't, but it's good that everybody is really, more people are seeing it. Look, you are with the rest of us. It doesn't matter what color you are. You're a
Yeah,
working class citizen. You're not valued.
yeah.
So that's good. I'm happy to see that a lot of people are now standing up. I just think that now I hope we have the same amount of people that turn out to the polls when it's actually time to vote, and not just
Exactly.
Hmm.
president,
Exactly.
for these people that are in our communities, for the state representatives, like all of that. All of those people need to be like voted out seriously.
But yeah, but my thing is, I'm just like, I get the protest, and everybody got a right to protest, but I'm like, y'all doing it backwards. Y'all should have voted
They didn't
and
think it would
not
affect
vote for
them though.
him, but now y'all
Right.
protesting, and I'm like, protesting to him don't mean nothing to him. He
Right.
didn't already came out and say it basically like,
Right.
why they protesting? Because I never said I was a king. So by them protesting, that don't mean nothing to him.
You still got
And
your money. He
yeah,
still
he
got your
still has
money.
that
So
position.
He got their vote. He in.
He's
Ain't
effectively
even been a look. Ain't even been near hitting 6 months now,
just
and
now,
they
because I
got
think
three and
January
a half
7th.
more years to go.
Yeah. I just think
So
that's why people need to vote. Like when it comes up to these state votes, the senators, the representatives, all of that, people need to show up and vote for the right people. Don't vote for people that are going to just fall underneath whatever he says. Vote for people that are trying to stand up, but now they don't have a voice anymore because they're they're overpowered by the people that he has under him already.
yeah,
They need to vote seriously. That's how we're going to make things change. Vote different people in. It's not just the presidential election that matters. It's these senators, it's these people that are
yeah,
voting in
yeah,
Congress that are aligning with him or falling under him because they don't want to lose the privileges that they have. But
yeah, yeah.
so it can kind of be done. Not, we don't maybe have to wait a whole 4 years for him. Just vote out the people that are supporting him as the elections come along. Because I think senators are there every 2 years. I think I'm not 100% sure though. But the local people in the state people that we elect,
Leo,
those are always going on. So 'cause we had one not too long ago.
Yeah.
Leo.
They have to.
yep.
Oh, yeah, but he didn't get a crowd like he thought he was gonna get at that parade.
That's crazy. I mean, it's good though. I'm glad no one turned out. People that did turn out, like, what the hell are you thinking? Seriously, what are you thinking?
Right. Like you ain't making that kind of money that he does.
Right, right. Why are you still supporting? Please tell me.
Yeah,
Crazy.
Funny.
Right.
Oh, what is that?
Are you doing a video today?
Where he fell? I can't see y'all. Hold on.
You
I
may
didn't
have
hear
to
something
swipe.
on my phone. Okay, now I can. I think he trying to get one up.
Hold on, let me cut my light off. I think that'd be bright light in the background.
I know that Israel and Iran is still fighting.
Yeah,
That's
I
gonna
don't
go
think this.
on for a minute though.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to end. I did watch a video about that night we watched that one video, and I have a better understanding, and I don't think that war's ever going to end. It just opened my eyes to see that a lot of countries are not like us. Like that's
They
crazy
just said
how they can't live together.
Trump said good chance a deal can be reached between Israel and Iran, but sometimes they have to fight it out.
No, that's crazy for him to even say that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy, absolutely crazy. But no, they don't want to live together.
Mm-mm.
Diversity.
They can't coexist no matter what the
Right.
situation is.
Yeah, I watched a thing on that. That's what it made me realize. Like, oh wow, a lot of countries do not accept people that are not exactly like them. Like, we're the only country that any religion is okay. Like, like it doesn't matter where you come from. We can all coexist. You can get a job. You have opportunities, even though Black people may not have as many, but still, it's not bad like other countries. They're really killing each other because they don't believe in the same religion. Or like that's
And
crazy.
most of them, nope. And most of them countries, them people will fight to their death,
Yes, they're
blow
serious about it.
themselves up before
Right.
they come to terms or agree or whatever.
Agree to be different. Like everybody's
Yep.
different. Everybody's different. So that
Yep.
opened my eyes to that, to see like, wow, they just can't coexist. They have different religions. They don't want to be together. They don't want to be
Mm-mm.
at
Nope.
all. This is going back decades. Like, oh wow.
Yep. Mm.
June 15th, I am back in studio, and after Air India Flight 171, I have gone on a deep dive to bring us the latest information. We're going to be showing why the flaps were indeed deployed for takeoff. Then we're going to go into an even deeper dive on 787 systems and why the gear potentially shows what really went wrong on this tragic flight. So let's go ahead and get into it. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the channel. My name's Gary. I've been flying for over 18 years commercially, and I currently fly the Boeing 777. We're going to get into this accident review here and really talk about what we think happened. I'm going to compare some other YouTubers, including Captain Steve, and kind of expand on what he's saying and maybe show him some things that he may have not seen and see if that changes his mind and his opinion on things. But let's go ahead and get into it right away. Now, a lot of YouTubers, and including myself, I said that the flaps appeared to be retracted. I now no longer believe that. If we want to go ahead and take a look, I think even Max Afterburner, his YouTube channel, said it looked like the flaps were up from the video. Now that I've compared it to some other 787 takeoffs, I do not believe that. And you take that with the information that the flaps on the ground with the wing in the pictures after the crash, at very least, the slats are deployed. That's the leading edge of the wing. And the flaps appear to be down too. And I think it's going to be a flaps 5 takeoff. And let's go ahead and compare. So let's watch this United, a much clearer video of a 787 taking off. Now, if you freeze this and look in and compare to both, as you can tell, it's very hard to tell. The flaps are extended on the United. They're also appear to be extended there. So I really don't think that had anything to do with the crash and takeoff. And so let's go ahead and move on to the next, though. So expanding on Captain Steve video, Steve did a initial video and then the second video. His second video, he correctly described that the rat was out. That's the ram air turbine. And funny enough, I just did a video on what happens if you lose all power and how the rat is deployed. And you can find that video here on my channel. It was on the Gimli glider. But either way, Captain Steve points out that the rat was deployed, and he now is in the camp of that is a double engine failure. Captain Steve goes on to talk about what the rat sounds like, and he shows a video comparing the rat out on another plane. And now that we have the audio of a better video of the original crash of Air India, you can hear that. And I totally agree with that. But here's where I think that maybe I could add to that. My thought is, if indeed you're going down and you're trying to apply full power, if it was not a double engine failure, all you hear is that rat, and it's quiet. If you listen to that video, it's quiet.
Wow. So it's just like, wow.
And
Dang.
So that describes what he was saying in that video. We maybe should have played that video first of the survivor saying what happened, but that explains what he was trying to describe. How it felt like they were just at a standstill, like they weren't, going up and they weren't going down. They kind of just felt like they were just nothing was happening, basically.
The survivor said that?
In his interview.
There is, in my opinion, if you were at max power at that point, you would hear those engines spooled up and a full noise of the thrust and the roar of the engines, assuming you had that power. Now, we're going to go into that in a second, why I don't think that had that power. The silence alone tells a big story that I think they did not have power shortly after takeoff. They lost thrust, I think, in all engines. And I think when that silence, you hear only the rat, it sounds like a wind down of the engines. So in my opinion, that you should be hearing in that video the thrust. And if you can see, if you listen to other videos on a go around, you will hear that thrust. They go full power. It's called toga, takeoff, go around. They're going to go full power. And you should hear the roar of those engines, even if it's continuing descent. For whatever reason, if they lost the lift, you should hear that noise. So that's the only thing I would add to Captain Steve as far as that. And I'm friends with Captain Steve. I talked to him last week, and we're doing an interview tomorrow. And so we're going to talk more about this. But let's continue on and talk about this double engine failure. This double engine failure, to me, is the only plausible thing that's going on right now, considering that they had a Mayday call, the rat was deployed, and it looked very stable, controlled as it descended. It looks like the plane engine flamed out. Now, why that could happen, I don't know. I guess we could get into that, right? A dual engine failure, I said in my original video that it could be contaminated fuel. And now I think I saw Captain Steve say that as well. I think that is literally the most likely story. Now, remember, how could you get a dual engine failure? Maybe contaminated fuel.
Contaminated fuel.
Yeah, like you get bad gas at the gas station and it messed up your engine and they gonna run.
Look, they recycling plane gas.
They got some unleaded when it's supposed to get premium.
Yes, they cutting corners.
Y'all know what's crazy though is that when that guy interviewed, he did say the lights flickered.
He did, and he said it kind of looked green on the flight.
I'm scared of fire. I really am.
They're gonna have me asking the pilot what kind of gas we got. We unleaded airplane for free. I mean,
when's the last time y'all filled it?
Right.
They'll know. I'll ask them, is this recycled gas? I mean,
they ain't gonna know. You gonna be messing with a flight attendant that just been hopping flights that ain't even working for the airline. It's too much going on.
Oh Lord, that's just scary. Contaminated gas. That's the only way it can be. It's bad gas or either water.
How the hell you put bad gas?
They trying to spread airplane gas and probably putting water or something in there.
Nah, you can't do that. That's a whole bunch of lies. Like you can't play with y'all. This it be funny, but then when you realize like how many people lost their lives, like that shit ain't funny.
Look, I don't think nobody could
verify this type of stuff. Well, how you get bad gas on the airplane? That you can't do that on the ground. If you do it in a car, the car just shut off. You have to get a new engine. You can't do that shit with somebody going in the air.
No. That's crazy. Either
I,
bad gas
How do that
or
work?
somebody
Like
didn't put enough gas in there. Or they
with the
didn't fill it
gas?
up.
If it was
yeah,
bad gas, would they use like that same gas on other planes, or they just fill up one time? With
I
how,
don't think you
Oh
can't
how do they
recycle
no.
fill it?
gas because it's just like in cars, it burns off. So you can't recycle it. It's something. I mean, you try maybe cutting corners, just like with
Yeah.
cars. It's just you can't do
And
that.
then I'm
You can't do
thinking
that with
if it
airplanes.
is contaminated gas, because I know they probably be going around with them tanks or whatever, filling up the planes with gas. I'm like, I wonder
Yeah,
how many
that's
other
what I'm saying.
planes
Yeah,
got that same
that's what
gas.
I was talking about.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Like with other planes getting that same gas.
Hmm.
I hope not.
Hmm.
I hope not. It can't be because then they all would have failed. I
But then
just
if that's the case, they probably need to go and flush them planes out and put new gas in them.
I just know how you can't cut corners with stuff like that. You can maybe cut corners on the ground. Yeah, give me some bad gas on the ground. I'm not gonna fall and die. My car is gonna stop and I'm gonna get a new engine. You can't do it. You can't play like that with airplanes. Like that's not
Yeah, that's
cool. That's so
crazy.
many people, y'all. So many people lost their lives.
That's
That's not
crazy.
you can't cut corners on stuff like that.
Yeah, they ain't gonna never come out and say if it had contaminated gas.
Right.
No, they
It's
ain't.
gonna be a cover up because they want people to keep getting on these damn airplanes. I don't want to fly, y'all. I don't want to fly. It's just not safe.
You want to go to a beach, you're gonna have to fly. Not unless you go to Okana in
Girl, ain't
Oklahoma
nobody trying to
City,
go.
the
They got bed
man-made
bugs.
beach.
Ain't nobody messing with O'Connor right now. They
They
got
got
bed.
bed
Oh,
bugs.
Girl,
Okana,
yeah, I saw an article. Yes, don't
the
stay
Dang.
there.
resort,
Yes, the resort
and
has
they
bed
ain't been
bugs.
open. What, 3, 4 months?
It only takes one person.
Oh
It
wow.
only takes one person to
How,
infect the damn hotel.
how
No,
dare
somebody did
they?
post something on Facebook that was just saying they're trying to keep it under wraps, but they keep having that problem. But I mean, I can understand it's not them, it's people that's coming in. Dirty ass people.
Mm, mm,
Probably
mm.
local people, honestly, that's trying to get have a party and stuff for
Have
they
a party, renting the rooms and
yeah,
stuff.
bed bugs.
Spreading they bed bugs.
All right, nobody got time for that
Mm,
shit.
mm, mm.
But yeah, when they treat one, they got to treat all the rooms as a hotel. So
Well,
yeah,
scratch O'Connor off my list.
I'm just gonna drive. I'm driving to New York. We're gonna go
Mm-mm.
sightseeing.
Oh no, nah, I'll have to get on the
No,
plane.
y'all, I'll meet y'all there.
Mm-mm.
Y'all can fly. I ain't got time for that, especially going up to New York. No, hell no. They
You
all
take
go
the
up.
train. Have to get on the train.
I would like to take a train too, but they trying to close the train station down here.
Dang.
Y'all want to pay for it no more.
I wonder there's enough people buying tickets.
I don't think so. A lot of people want to get there fast. They don't want to sightsee.
Hmm.
I think
Yeah,
there was a grant, and so that
because
grant
that's
is.
just like everybody be forgetting that train just to go to Dallas.
Yeah, I was gonna ride on that train because I was like, I want to sightsee.
Hmm.
A lot of people might think it's crazy, but I want to sightsee. But no, they're talking about closing that down. The train from Oklahoma
Yeah,
City to
I don't
Dallas.
think a lot of
But
I don't think a
it's
lot of
because
people ride it.
it's because it's a grant. A grant funds it, and they're taking that
Hmm.
money away. So they're trying to the companies don't want to actually pay it out of their pockets because I don't think it generates enough revenue for them to even profit off of. So that's what the problem is. But yeah, that grant's being taken away. So
Mm.
they're thinking about shutting down. But okay, back to the video.
Maybe both engines just somehow malfunctioned. The odds of that are, I can't even imagine if that's true. I don't think that happened. But again, we're going to think of all possibilities. The only other way that you lose the power, if it wasn't mechanical and a problem with the plane, is if you turned off the auto throttle and you go ahead and pull the power back to idle. Okay. That's one way. The only other way is if you do the fuel cutoff switch. If you cut off the fuel, now technically, I guess you could argue if you pulled the fire switches too, you could do that, but the fuel cutoff. I'm not saying that. I'm just letting you know these are the ways that you could lose power or turn off the engines. I'm not even going to go there on a theory or an assumption, but I'll let you draw your own conclusions on what if that could happen or not. Okay, so here is where I would say I don't necessarily disagree with Captain Steve. I just have a different theory. So in his original video, Captain Steve said that he believed that the first officer might have mistakenly put the flaps up instead of the gear. After he
Mm-mm.
reviewed more videos in his second video, he moved that slot to number 2 as a 2 possibility. My thought is that Captain Steve thinks that maybe that's still a possibility. I would say it's not for this reason. If we look closely here at the takeoff, there's something that you can notice if you look very closely. The main landing gear on the 787 is tilted forward. The only reason that the gear will tilt forward is if the landing gear is selected up. So let's go ahead and watch this video of the 787 gear coming up and watch closely. Gear selected up. Click, tilts forward. And if you compare that to the video, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And the gears
Did he get it?
tilted forward. So this to me indicates, I'll go ahead and stop playing this video. This to me indicates that the gear was correctly selected up and not the
dragging the solar receiver.
Saying dragging the solar receiver.
That was another video, I think, that said
flaps.
that.
Now, who knows? Maybe he selected the flaps first and then realized he needed to put the gear up. I guess it's a possibility. But the fact that the gear, and here's where I looked at the systems. This gear, the tilt on this gear is operated separately. And it is supposed to, if you recycle the gear, if it comes up, even if you push it up and then put it back down, it's supposed to, once it gets down, to go in the landing position and tilt back. The fact that it stayed locked, I think they had a full engine flame out, which means they lost electrical power, and that was the best it could do. So either two things happened. They said, we're going down and we're going to put that gear back down, because if you're going to land in a city, you might as well have the gear down. It's better than not, right? The only time you leave it up is probably over water, or maybe you could argue trees, but I digress. I'm getting off on a rabbit trail. I think that there's two things that happened. He went to put the gear up, both engines flame out, and the hydraulic system subsequently goes out, and it drops back down into place just from gravity, because that rat is not going to power that gear back up. First thing that happens on the plane, on the 787, when you pull the gear up, is it tilts forward, and that's so that it can clear the doors and get back up into the bay. So I think they went gear up, total electrical system, and then the gear didn't even get to the point. If it did get out, it quickly went back down into the position, and that's where it stayed. So that's my theory. And I think when I talk to Captain Steve tomorrow, I think he's going to agree with me that with this evidence and information that the gear was tilted forward points to that the gear was brought up with the rat deployed. I think that we're looking at strictly straight double engine failure. Now, how could we have a double engine failure? I don't know. And that's a good segue into my last point, that most pilots, including myself, believe that even with the gear down and possibly the flaps in the wrong position, that airplane, especially a 787 and those engines, should have easily been able to escape with full power out of that position that it was. So something was wrong there. And then the fact that it completely just lost lift, went up, and started going back down tells me that it wasn't necessarily something wrong with the flap. So I think those 3 points. So the fact that we have the rat deployed, the gear is tilted forward, we had a mayday call, tells me that there was just a complete loss of electrical power and most likely both engines. Mm-hmm. Now we can argue. I don't know how you lose both engines. I mean, that is, to me, is completely insane. I do not understand it. That is something that we're going to, at this point, we cannot draw a definitive conclusion as to what would cause both engines like that to just flame out. We can speculate, right? There's only, as I said before, there can be the dual engine failure, right? For whatever reason, they just failed at the same time. Almost nearly impossible, but I guess it could happen. The power could have been pulled to idle with the auto throttle off, or the fuel cutoff switches could have been pulled. Other than that, it doesn't make a lot of sense what happens. So once we get all the data and stuff, that's when we can make more of a definitive conclusion. I would like to real quick clarify my last video. When I said it was 3 hours after the crash, I was just giving basic information. As I said, most of the stuff holds up, but we could eliminate it. Remember, I said we can eliminate the bird strike. We're confident that was not what caused it. Watching with all this, I would say it's very likely that this pilot error was not a factor here, right? It could be, but I would say this points to some other type of malfunction. And again, remember, I said dual engine failure, and I also said contaminated fuel. Captain Steve also brought up contaminated fuel in a second video. And I think something like that is where we're going, because I can't fathom how you would lose both engines going to take off. But either way, tell me what I missed. Tell me what you think I got right. And I would appreciate your comments. And let me know what you think. And until next time, stay safe.
What y'all think?
That's crazy. But I'm gonna say I pulled up uh how does a plane lose power? It says, like he said, engine failure, fuel problems, and then it says insufficient fuel. Running out of fuel is a clear cause of engine failure. Fuel contamination, water or debris in the fuel can block the fuel line, preventing fuel from reaching the engine. And then fuel starvation, and it says even if fuel is present, a blockage in the fuel delivery system can starve the engine.
Can you find that? Can you find an interview of the guy that witnessed the shit? He clearly said the power went out. They had
Mm,
some type of power. He said the lights flickered on, like they flickered off. Seriously, like you have a survivor telling you what he experienced, and he said it felt
hmm
like they weren't climbing. It felt like they were just at a standstill. Literally, he said it felt like they were at a standstill. Like
hmm
explaining what happened, and nobody's listening to his ass. But no, he did say the power went. I feel like they had a power failure. Something happened.
Yeah, no, I think they're trying to figure
Power
out
went
now
out.
what caused it.
It may be on. The only thing I can think of is fuel contamination. I mean, it could be dirt. Yeah, I mean that's a possibility. A lot of people cut corners. A lot of these big companies,
Hmm
because they want to profit, 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 profit. Lives don't matter.
Yep.
Money, and
Yep.
it's messed up that they think like that. Like, oh my god, that's
Can
what I
you
would.
imagine you getting on a plane and you thinking the proper fuel is in there, or if it's
They're
enough
testing it.
fuel, they didn't tested the engines and that's crazy.
They're not even making sure the flight attendants work for the company. They
I,
don't give a fuck. Like they don't care, and that's crazy. It's
that
sad. It's
got
crazy.
me. I'm like, he said he logged over 1,200 flights and did not work for the airline.
That's dangerous.
All of them should have been fired.
That's
Anybody that
dangerous.
checked him in, the TSA agent, and they should be fired.
I think they cut corners though. Possible fuel contamination. Just like the guy said, a double engine failure is not common at all. Like that's not common. How the hell did that happen?
Who
I mean,
puts the gas in the plane?
it probably somebody don't work for the fucking airlines to be honest. Like
Yeah,
you don't even know. Like seriously.
the mechanic, the workers that be riding them little carts at the
Yeah.
airport, be on that little fuel truck.
I,
Now, I don't know if that's brought to them supposedly full of fuel, or if they actually go to like a tank on the base and fill it. But the
I
people
don't
that drive that little truck, they the ones who fill it.
they fill it up, but I don't think they're probably responsible for
Like
testing,
where the
like,
gas came
if it's
from. Yeah.
good. Yeah, I don't think that they're responsible for that. I wouldn't think I would be. Like I don't think they would be. I think
Now,
they
where they getting the gas from? Like how
yeah,
these
that's
quick
who they need
trips
to
and stuff around
yeah,
here be getting it, and you be seeing them trucks
come fill it
loading the
up.
gas. Hmm
Yeah, I think that's who will be responsible. The person that's actually bringing in the fuel. But yeah, the guy did say the power went out. He said that he felt like they weren't ascending. It felt like they were just at a kind of a standstill, like nothing, like they were just there.
It looked like it just reached whatever feet that it was in, that height in the air, and then
Yeah,
it
and then
stalled
it
out and
like
it just
yeah.
dropped.
That's why I was like, oh my god, that explains what he felt. He felt like they weren't going up. You know what I'm saying? Like they were just paused for a minute. Crazy, crazy.
Yeah, that's sad.
The fact that we can send rockets outside the atmosphere for people that say they're astronauts, but we can't make sure these planes are running effectively is absolutely crazy. There have been a lot of airplane tragedies recently.
Yeah,
It's been a lot.
and they getting a lot of workers leaving too. That's why
Mm,
they these flight attendants can just walk in there
right.
and not be employed.
And they don't care because, like,
That's just
somebody's
crazy.
here, somebody showed up. What the hell? He don't work here. Crazy.
And my thing is, it's all the airports he got through the
TSA.
departure,
That's what bothers me.
I'm like, that's crazy. The
That I mean,
hub, if he had to stop at a hub and then the final and then the return flight, I'm like, that is crazy.
yeah, he good. Thank God he just wanted to travel and he wasn't a terrorist.
Yep,
Ooh, that would have been bad.
That's what I'm
yep.
saying. How does he get on all these flights and nobody knows that he doesn't even work for the company?
And
Has
then got through
nobody checked
TSA.
him? He's getting through TSA every damn day. You know, like that's a lot. Nobody cares
He
though.
just
Like
walking through the airport with his uniform on and his rolling suitcase and
crazy.
little bag with his little airplane wings on his shirt.
They just happy somebody showed up to work because everybody quitting.
Mm, mm, mm.
It's sad though. I mean, that's scary though, because he could have honestly. Thank God he was not a terrorist.
Yep, that's crazy.
Just a normal person trying to travel the world for
I'm gonna
free.
have to try to find a picture of him
Yeah, you got to
so
find a
we can
picture.
show
We need to
it.
interview his ass. We need to interview his ass. We need to start doing interviews. Sir,
How you do
how are
this?
you doing this?
First of all, what made you do this?
Yeah,
What made you
how did
even
you
think
get this
about doing
idea?
this?
How did you get this idea?
Right, right.
Why? And then I would want to know why you didn't apply for a job.
He probably got a felony. Shit, only God knows.
It ain't that you can't do the job because obviously you were doing it
Oh my
and
God.
blended in.
I can't fly, y'all. I don't want to fly. It's scary as
And
shit.
then I'm like, how you finding stuff on the plane to bring to people and stuff? That is just crazy. He didn't got real acquainted with.
With the other coworkers. They thought he worked there. Oh my God.
I'm like, dang. I bet you he watched YouTube videos on flight attendants.
Probably so. YouTube University. I don't know though, but
And then I'm like, where he get his uniforms?
he stole it from somebody. It ain't hard. Maybe
Well,
he knows
sometimes
somebody
they
got
just wear black and blue pants and maybe a white shirt and a scarf. So he probably could have just got them off the internet somewhere, the store.
Amazon
I was just about
Hmm.
to say that. Got from Amazon.
Yeah.
overnight. That's
Look,
all you know.
a flight attendant Halloween costume.
Make sure y'all like, comment, share, and subscribe. Wraps up another episode of The Heart of the Family. Let us know what y'all think went wrong with that 787.
Also, watch the interview of the guy that survived. Seriously.
He said, try to find that. He said, I mean, Mika send it to you there so we can see it tomorrow.
I'll look for it real quick. I somewhere in my history. Let me go. I'll find it and I'll send it. But yeah,
Okay.
he described what he experienced, which is good because you rarely get that. It's usually everybody on the plane perishes, but you got one person that can tell you what really was happening.
Yeah.
One
So,
family.
endless
Endless
Connections.
connection.
Eh.
Coach ass. He gonna wake up at 10. Y'all be like, I missed the call.
Where the call did
He came here last night at 10 and was like, what happened? You asleep, boy.
you say, did y'all have a
Man,
Yeah.
and Jackson is really enjoying his summer. Last night, he